Welcome to this episode of Talking Treasure. I'm your host, David Aaron Carpenter. Today, we are diving into the fascinating world of collectibles and how you can buy them. Okay, let's do this. Before we dig deeper for these treasures, I only ask of you to click on that like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really helps me out. Thanks. Let me start off by saying this is not one of those get-rich videos, nor will I ever ask any of you for money. So if anyone does approach you, it's a scam and should be reported immediately.
Don't listen to this man, he's a fraud! And I can prove it!
Also, these videos are for entertainment and educational purposes only, as I am not a financial professional. Had to get that out of the way. Okay, so what is a collectible and how can I buy them? Collectibles are defined as items valued and sought by collectors, which is a pretty broad spectrum of things. There is a distinction between something that is collectible and something that is vintage. Vintage comes from the French vingt âge, which means 20 years. So technically something that is 20 years or older is considered vintage. A collectible could be brand new. Take Ferrari's LaFerrari, where its value on the secondary market immediately was greater than the price paid at the dealership if you were able to get access to one. The easiest way to navigate this broad range of collectibles is by visiting some of the top auction house websites. Let's go to Heritage, the world's largest auction house specializing in coins, comics, and handbags, among other items. These are the categories of collectibles that are offered for sale. Let's go through the drop-down list. Basically, there is something for everyone. Whether it's comic books, stamps, fine art, wines and spirits, furniture design, natural history, and antiquities. While Heritage has a great selection of art, I typically go to Christie's, Phillips, and Sotheby's for the art purchases. So let's go see some of my favorite pieces that were sold at Heritage. Number 1, the fighting pair, Allosaurus vs. Stegosaurus. This piece was sold in 2011 for $2.7 million. To give you a little bit of reference, a few weeks ago, an Allosaurus skeleton just sold for $4 million. So that, plus a Stegosaurus, which typically runs between $3 and $5 million right now, would easily be $7 to $10 million at auction. So a pair that was bought for $2.7 million has been a fantastic investment, and that was bought in 2011. Number 2, Action Comics number 1, which is Superman comic number 1. This piece was bought for around $1 million a few years ago, and today would probably bring around $1.5 to $2.5 million. Number 3, the largest gold nugget from the Western Hemisphere, the Boot of Cortez. In January of 2008, this piece sold for $1.3 million. Today, it's priceless, as I don't think you could ever find a gold boot that's over 389 ounces again. So what I like to do is create a login, so I get notifications about upcoming auctions, setting up my preferences to highlight which categories of sales I'm interested in seeing, and getting access to some of the sold lot prices. My advice to all of you is that if you really like a piece at an auction that you end up not buying or just missing out on, ask the specialist if they have one for private sale. Steve Jobs brilliantly said, "Most people never ask, and that's what separates the people that do things from the people that just dream about them." I want you all to succeed in your ventures and think outside the box. You will realize a completely different universe exists, and your aspirations will change for the better. So thanks so much for joining me on this episode of Talking Treasure, and I hope to see you next time.